When I do couples counseling, one of the things I'm always very, impressed upon is that couples, if they haven't had any kind of pre-marriage counseling, they don't know what to expect. And they'll hit a rut in the relationship, not understanding that basically intimacy is 5 layers. In other words, it takes building. And the stages of intimacy that I'm going to talk about today are basically reinventing themselves all throughout the relationship. So I've been married for a long time. I can go back to the very beginning stages sometimes of the core and building of intimacy. In other words, when you see these older couples and they're in love, they are indeed in love, but they also are experiencing different patterns from the other stages of their intimacy, such as awakening or burial. And I'm going to go through the stages now so that you'll kind of get an idea. Maybe you'll be able to stage your intimacy growth with your partner, and then you'll be able to have like a projection where you should be. And when you get into some kind of an altercation or conflict, you'll be able to step back, and rather than walk away, which I see so common now in young couples, you'll be able to ride that wave no matter how bumpy it is, and maybe continue the conversation so you can grow deeper in intimacy and love. Okay, the first of the stages is the one of infatuation. Infatuation is when you first meet somebody, you're attracted to them, they're attracted to you, and you're like, oh my God, I found the love of my life. This stage is very important, whether you're infatuated over their brilliance, what they do for a career, how they look, or whatever area it is. Infatuation is important. And you can even say, well, I'm in a relationship right now, it's infatuation only. And a therapist would be able to stage that, because for some couples, infatuation lasts 2 weeks. For other couples, it lasts 2 years. So it says nothing about your relationship, how long you stay in these areas of intimacy. What's more important is the stability of the relationship. And that has to do with understanding the stage and being able to go through the rough times with communicating rather than walking away. Okay, the second one is the bittersweet landing, or where you end up. What happens in this stage of intimacy is basically you know each other and you're kind of like, okay, I'm done with that. And this is an area many times where couples will split. They lose interest because they're not long-term gratifiers, they're short-term. Like they never really had any understanding of a relationship. Maybe they came from homes where parents weren't able to communicate love or affection or intimacy. Whatever the reason, it was more casual for them. The bittersweet landing is important in a stable, healthy relationship though too, because this is the place that is the stage following infatuation. It has to be this way. You start seeing each other's flaws. To me, it's a healthy sign. To you, it may not feel healthy. It might be like, is this all there is? Like, what are we going to do now? And I think this is the area that I like to tell couples is a good time to explore. Because if you were totally blinded by infatuation before, then when you come to this stage out of the infatuation, you're not going to have any shared content. And it's so important that you start doing that. Start taking classes, start asking more questions, start getting more curious. Who is this person you were so infatuated with should be your question in this stage. The next stage is burying. Burying, I have a bad accent, but it's basically covering up. Burying happens when you're basically kind of putting to rest what was so fantastic. Like you may have said things like, oh my God, I feel 20 years younger. I feel like I can do anything, when you were in the infatuation stage. And even coming out of it, you may have had some of that left over. The burying stage is when that is completely gone. And I've told you many times that relationships take nurturance. This is the stage that a lot of people, especially now, if it's a new relationship, will say, Well, this takes so much work. I don't think it's healthy because it's taking too much work. Not true. Healthy relationships take a lot of work. And in fact, the only way you can create a really healthy, solid relationship is you continually nurture it. This is when you start pulling out things like, let's go to a retreat. Let's try sexual counseling. Let's do the other things. And you can be married several years and then you drop into the burying stage. It can feel like it happened after you got married. It doesn't matter when it happened. The fact that it happened is all part of normal intimacy growth. And you have to be to this stage so that it can kickstart you into working on the relationship. When people get stuck in this stage, what ends up happening is the relationship gets very stale. And sometimes couples will get very comfortable with that staleness. They'll turn to things like Netflix or partying or drinking. But what I'm going to encourage you to do is use this time to grow your relationship. Start going to courses. Start taking classes. Start trying new sexual things, like maybe you're going to read an erotic book together. Whatever it is, it's not the fact that you've lost interest. It's the fact that you have to learn now how to nurture it every day. Next is the awakening stage. The awakening stage is when you see your partner in a new light. Like one morning you get up and you go, oh my God, I forgot how beautiful you are in the morning. Or your partner will be with you at some event and say something real quirky that makes you laugh and you're like, you're so weird. I love that you're weird. The awakening is when you start seeing all the essence of this person. Like, my God, this person really is solid. This person really is fantastic when I get anxious. Or this person really does love me. And we really are going to share a future and have a family together. The awakening stage is a vital part for intimacy, and you will fall back into the stage throughout a healthy long-term relationship. In fact, you'll go through all these stages. Every once in a while, it cycles more quickly. The last stage, of course, is love. And true love, you can see it. You can feel it when you're around a couple who has it. It's basically the total acceptance. It's wanting to respect your partner. It's wanting to help your partner carry their load. It's wanting to be the person they call first. It's wanting to be the person that they need when they're scared about something or when they're stressed about something. When you are truly in love, you cannot imagine your life without them. Intimacy is a building block, and there's many forms. You'll see that in another video I did about the six types of intimacy. But more than that, it's stages. It's like anything else. You go back and forth into stages, and that's what makes a long-term relationship so interesting. It's continuing to grow, expand, and reconnect.